Welcome back to Any Given Monday. Missed these pods. Haven't done them in like a week or something, 2 weeks. Mark, it's good to see you. I apologize that I've pissed off the entire Twitter universe. But here we are. We're here. We've still made it. I've fought through the lefts and rights I've taken today.
We're back. Friday Q&A.
Yeah.
Right. What is it? Monday Q's, Friday A's are back.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That was the working title that we started with.
Yeah.
You have the Old Barnwell hat on today. That's why we didn't record last week. You were at Old Barnwell. I was on my way to Kentucky. So we'll get to all of that. But first, Ryan French, you have made news this morning. You have angered some people. You have misfired by some accounts. So we'll just open with the first question to lead into the story of what happened this morning from Jackson Clark. Your personal favorite, Billy Ho or the Gregors?
Yeah. It's always Gregors. Chalmers laughed. I mean, I really do think it's a take. There's a lot. So Colin Morikawa got injured today. There's a lot of TGL players who are injured. That's it. That's the facts of the matter. Billy Ho did not take kindly to that, which is fine. Understand it. And his injury did not happen, he says, anything to do with TGL. And then it kind of went sideways from there. People were very angry.
For those who are not on the platform formerly known as Twitter, Ryan posted a list of the players who have been injured, who are also TGL players, including Tagala, Horschel, JT, Rory, Colin, and just said, very matter-of-factly, that these players who have been injured recently also play TGL.
Yeah.
And Billy Horschel jumped in and took offense to it and said the implication of the post was totally inaccurate and his injury had nothing to do with TGL.
Sure.
How do you feel, having seen all of the responses now, having seen Billy Horschel's response?
Yes.
Having muted that conversation, how do you feel in hindsight?
I feel exactly the same as when I posted it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's 100%. Here's what I'm saying. And everybody went, well, they're not hitting golf shots. Right. I'm not saying that. Here's the deal. Most of the time that there was a Monday match, these guys were coming from an event. Okay? So they would come from an event. Sometimes they were close, but sometimes they were further away. They would fly in Sunday after. Didn't Max, who just won and then had to go play an event Monday morning, right? It just happened. I can't remember. This season.
Is it Morikawa?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Colin did. And okay. So wins, then flies to Florida to play the next morning. That's not normal. If Colin was going from winning to another tournament, he would take Monday off. No doubt about it. Okay? So this is abnormal from what these guys do. They don't have a range to warm up. There is indoor centers, but I'm sure their warm up is abnormal. There's no way that the turf there is the same as the turf on a golf course. Okay? And then, again, a lot of guys fly out Monday night, overnight, to the next event. That takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on your routine, all of those things. Sahith admitted, or it's in an article, that he was hurt at TGL. All those other guys have been hurt while playing TGL. So I feel exactly the same. I'm not saying it's 100% TGL. Those players happen to be getting injured right now at a higher rate than, quote unquote, other regular players. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I feel exactly the same. Billy did not talk me off of my point. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel exactly the same.
I can see it both ways. I can see that the routine is different. Most of these guys live there in South Florida or in Jupiter.
True.
So, and we are in the Florida swing now. So it's not like they're going that far to the next event, but it's really where they were coming from and that they normally wouldn't play in those extra, it's not many swings, but it is actual competition. So it's not like they're, swinging at 50% or 60% and really going at half speed. They're all competitors.
Sure.
So and it is kind of a measurement of your speed in some capacity. All that information and data is right there, and you are competing with the guys next to you. So you want to beat them. So I definitely can see that the abnormality of the schedule and anything like these guys push themselves, right? You push themselves in every capacity. And look, when I go play the Chili Cup in Kentucky, I need a couple of days to just recover from that.
Yeah. Right.
So if the Chili Cup's a couple of days, so you multiply that by, 100x energy expent, and that's what these players are dealing with. And like Monday's a good recovery day. So I see that. I also see a lot of these guys would probably have some sort of Monday obligation anyways, and they might make 10 or 20 swings. But regardless, you did set golf Twitter ablaze today. So congratulations. Now we can move on into the more substantive questions. Let's start with something that pertains to the Brian Rolapp presser.
Yeah.
A question from Jay: are you in favor of a tiered tour with in-season promotion and demotion based on performance? And if so, suggest criteria.
I mean, this one's really hard. Like, let me first say, and I said it on Twitter, is like two things I took away from the roll-up thing. Don't like everything he says, and we'll get into some of the minutia of it. But man, was he good. He's so much better than Jay. And man, was Jay bad at those. Like, I didn't watch a ton of press conferences, Mark, before I was doing this. So I don't have a ton of experience. But Jay was just so defensive and so he came in on defense since Live. And so they were always contentious. And Rolapp, I tweeted about it, it's just he came in and said, the second question is hey, I need to get to know you guys. Can you say your name prior to your question and where you're from? And that's a little thing, but it's what you should do, right? And it was not adversarial. The press conference was very much guys asking and him answering. Sometimes he didn't answer. He did some PR bullshit, walk around questions, whatever. You brought up a good point about he walked around they were going to spend the money, but I thought he was very good. I mean,
just as a quick little injection here, I don't want to be in the position of defending Jay necessarily, but he did give my family a baby blanket when my son was born, or his assistant did. So there is that.
I forgot about that.
However, you didn't start tuning in to Jay's press conferences in the same way that I didn't and most golf fans didn't, which was after the inception of Live and when he was on his back foot, when it was a very high stress environment. Brian, Rolapp gets a year grace period right now.
Yeah,
this is honeymoon phase, and he's still learning the ropes, and we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, but just wanted to add that aside.
Fair enough. I mean, Jay's question is great, and I've thought about it a lot. It's just I don't know what it looks like. I mean, listen, I say this all the time is show me some tweets or some podcasts about how terrible the PGA Tour was prior to Live and all these changes we need. So I mean, that's kind of my starting point is there may be some tweaks. Maybe we could make fields a little bit. Maybe we could touch up the priority list or stuff like that. Maybe we could reduce some of these extra events. Okay, great. I mean, that's what we have now as a two-tiered system. I don't know. Does it get any better if we have 120 player fields? I think it's vital to have in season, Jay. I don't think anyone's going to be happy on the second tier. right? So it's like, oh, you're on the PGA Tour, but you're not really. That's what we have now. Like, so there has to be a way to get onto tier one in season, in my opinion. Now, he was talking, he kind of went in between, like, yes, there would be, and then maybe it's the fall and it's basically like some sort of Q school extra Corn Ferry, I don't know, like Corn Ferry finals maybe type stuff. And that creates drama. I'm not saying that, but yeah, I think it's got to be in season. No one wants to. That's the problem of now is like, oh, congratulations, you got your PGA Tour card, but you don't really because you're not in signature events, and so you're going to fight like crazy to even keep your card, even if you play good. So, yeah, you got to have a way to do it. But that's what I've heard is that there's so many logistics. I don't know how they pull this off by 27. It's just like, how do the points work? Once you get up to, and he wants to simplify it, he says, right? It's like, and I get that. He's right. Like the Aon 10, swing 10 or whatever the fuck it's called, right? Like, I don't know how that works. And I'm as nerdy as it gets. Like, so simplifying it and having a 2-tiered promotion and relegation within season doesn't sound too simple to me. So not sure all those can go together.
Yeah. To me, what he was saying, now he said the initiative is what we're committing to, but not the details. And so from that perspective, we didn't get a whole lot of specifics, but what you're talking about and what, Jay is referencing is kind of what we have now, that you can move. There's already a 2-tiered system. It's not recognized as formally besides signature events and regular season events. What we're talking about is that demarcation now between Tour 1 and Tour 2. And what I took away, and I could be totally wrong, but that you wouldn't be able to move as freely between those based on what I thought he was saying. Again, could be wrong, but I would prefer now the expansion of signature events, more signature events, 120 player fields. That's great. That means that more players are getting into those events. So tier 1 is, essentially expanded. As far as tier 2 of the tour is concerned, isn't there the concern that sponsors just won't be as apt or interested in, it'll become more of a Corn Ferry type setting? Yes. And they'll struggle to maintain sponsorship there.
And then where does the Corn Ferry fit in? It's tier 3. It's 2A. Is it? I just don't. Again, that's so many questions. It's like if you're the John Deere Classic at the very, like Jordan has shown up before, has won it. Like Brooks just went to the Cognizant. Like you still have this hope, and you feel like you're on the PGA Tour, right? It's like, well, what does the Cognizant pay to be tier 2? They're not paying what they're paying now. And then where does the Corn Ferry Tour fit in? Again, I appreciate he wants to make changes. With all the changes, I don't know how this happens in 27. Like, dude, this is like, we want to go to bigger markets. Like you're changing golf courses totally. Just so much that I just can't see it being pulled off. I just can't. Like, how many conversations do you have to have with a sponsor about going like, hey, dude, you're not going to be on the PGA Tour, but PGA Tour B, it's going to be amazing. Like, that's not a phone call and then they're like, we're all in. That's a process, I assume.
Well, and that line between tier 1 and tier 2, I think right now they're trying to lay the ground markers to incentivize the companies to become tier 1 sponsors. Like, hey, we're expanding this. You can get in on this, or, if you're kind of stuck in the tier 2 zone, you're not going to get the eyeballs and the attention that you otherwise would. So isn't it worth, spending, let's say, an extra 60% or whatever? I guess it's probably quite a bit more than that. It's probably more like 125%. But what I want to ask you about, it was something that I picked up on when he mentioned Corn Ferry Tour and America's Tour. And he basically said, meritocracy is really important to us. And this system has roots in our history, but we will be evaluating the value of each one of these individual opportunities and he stumbled a little bit, and it was the only time he really stumbled, as I remember, in his prepared remarks. And I don't want to read too much into that, but usually when something like that happens, you can say, okay, why is this tripping him up just a little bit? And he said, we'll evaluate. That wasn't the word he used. I can't exactly remember, but the implication was that we will evaluate the importance of these tours, and we don't know what's going to happen to them yet. And what I got was those are not safe.
No, I've never, I say every year, it's like, this has to be the last year of the Americas Tour. Like, first of all, it takes a lot of people to run. I think it makes a little money because a ton of people go to Q school. They get paid from certain governments to come to areas, so it's a lot cheaper. But like, wow, now you're talking about running. If you add another tier, you're now talking basically running single A baseball, right? Like, well, what do you? Even baseball doesn't run single A baseball. The owners of those little organizations run the thing. So if they want a ball, they just go to a good mini tour and go like, hey, you're our A ball. And the top 3 guys, I don't know why they wouldn't do that anyway. Yeah, I think the Americas Tour every year, I'm like, there's no way this continues. Like, it doesn't make, if it makes money, it doesn't make a ton by any means. It's not, it's got to be a huge headache. Like, there's social media people, there's all the structure you need in order to make this work. It just seems like, as a private equity firm, it would be an easy one to pick off. Champions Tour, he never even mentioned it. Where does that fit in? You know, like, again, we've talked about the fact that Tiger holds it. So let's move on. Like, there's a lot of questions in this, Mark. So Greg asked, what cities, not stated by Roulette, would you like to see he gain events? Roulette said bigger markets, but just, you can dream, realistic, non-realistic, whatever. I mean, obviously Alpina is the right answer, but besides that, where do you think the tour should go?
Yeah, I am very partial to the Northeast. Mm-hmm. I grew up there. You know, obviously he mentioned Boston. They tried to host. Can you hear Miles in the back calling my name?
That's fine. It's fine. Leave it in. 1 minute.
Miles, hold on, buddy. I'm just going to finish recording this pod, okay?
That
was just a little aside.
Mark's watching his son.
We tried the Corn Ferry Tour when I was on it. Tried hosting an event in Portland, Maine.
Yeah,
which is actually it's a decent sized media market, and it's a growing city. You know, there's just so much great golf in the Northeast.
Yeah,
I don't think that Roulette mentioned the top 10 media markets, and you know, I don't know outside of Boston that those would apply, but you know, certainly like Chicago's a great city for golf.
Yeah, Chicago, right?
You know, some more events out west. I feel like the West Coast is not as taken advantage of. Like, we used to play an event in Denver. That was a great city to host a tournament. Like, the ball goes really far there. It's kind of exciting to see the ball fly and never come down.
Yeah.
You know, Vegas, why couldn't Vegas ever work? Vegas never worked for some reason. It doesn't make sense. It should.
It really does. Why not?
Yeah, and so, like, you know, kind of re-exploring a great tournament in Las Vegas. Maybe Phoenix has taken over that role as the party city, and they just don't have the need anymore. But like Jersey, someone mentioned New Jersey. Will there be an event that's held back there? There's so many unbelievable golf courses there. It's the head of the USGA's headquartered there. Like, there's some great opportunities, but I think they really want to focus on those media markets where they can get just a packed house every single week.
Yeah. Back to Chicago.
Alpena, Michigan. I mean, dude, Alpena,
we'll pack the house,
the UP. Let's go.
The entire city will be there. That's 9,000 people. Back to Chicago. This isn't going to happen. I know that. It's an all-male club, but it would be so cool to see that Butler. Chicago Golf Club, they don't want it. They don't want a regular tour event. They would never do it. this is like dream pie in the sky stuff, but like a Chicago golf club, obviously there's amazing golf in Chicago, Medina, Olympia Fields. There's amazing places to do it. I would like to have a traditional home for a Chicago event, like a regular stop that likes to have it. I'm not sure that's going to happen ever in Chicago, but yeah, I would like that. Alpina's obvious question. Obvious.
San Francisco is another one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
like Northern Cal, obviously they got the AT&T, and that seems like they're going to leave the possibility of that being maybe not the Tour Championship necessarily, but one of the playoff events. That door has been opened.
Yeah.
But around San Fran, there's so much incredible golf.
Yeah.
I just think the possibilities there are pretty significant.
Yeah. Hold on. Trying to get back to the questions. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Which top golfer wouldn't be nearly as successful on tour if everyone had to use pre-1990 equipment? Richie added, and why is it Jordan Spieth? It's Bryson DeChambeau. In my opinion, that's my opinion. I don't like in 1990, club companies would have told him to just buzz off when he said I'd like all my clubs to be upright and all the same length. And he just seems to be the guy who like smashes it wherever on the face. I mean, he's a very good golfer, but Bryson would be my answer.
Phil Mickelson never achieved the number one ranking in the world, which is staggering, right?
That is staggering.
I mean, imagine a world. You can't imagine a world without Tiger Woods, but he would have won so many more events had Tiger had chosen baseball or, spent more time with Navy SEALs. However, players like Phil, who can control their ball, who knew how to play from the rough, who knew how to control their spin doctors, like unbelievable short gamers. I think players with just like raw speed who got to get it done with the driver right now, who are just like exceptional drivers.
Yeah.
Like a Rory. I don't know that Rory would have done as well.
Yeah. Agreed.
Scotty's a shot maker and a spin doctor. He probably would have dominated back then as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have all done it, but I remember getting a Big Bertha and being like, oh my God, that club head is like, it might way down the back of the car. It's so big. And now it would be a third of the size of the regular one. All right, we're jumping back, and we're going to shorten this a little bit because Mark is watching Miles, but we're jumping back to the thing because I think
he's
it's
calling right now. Hold on, buddy. I'm close to being done. Give me 10 minutes, okay?
If the purses for the 8 current signature events are being thought of as unsustainable, how do you think 16 track 1 purses will be funded? Question 2, what better word would you use than track? Yeah, it's not good. One of the, I would say the biggest questions, like it's relatively well known, I think, that like the signature events are like unsustainable at its current. They're like funding them basically. It's unsustainable. And so if that's the expectation of what a purse is going to look like across the tour, I would love to know how the tour thinks that that's going to happen. And that's a hard precedent to set because you just go like, yeah, those $20 million purses, yeah, those are going to be 15, but we're going to have 16 of them. And so, like, I don't know how the membership feels about that, right? And again, who said it? Mark, somebody said it to me. Was like, if Liv goes out of business, the tour's just going to tell you what the purses are.
Yeah.
Like right now, they kind of have to go like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're going to try to make this work. And if Liv ever goes away, you're going to be like, yeah, well, the purses next year are going to be 10 million. You're going to be like, well, that sucks. And they're like, yeah, I mean, play the Asian tour if you'd like. So, I mean, it's a great question, Andrew. It's probably one of the biggest questions they have to answer is like, oh, we're trying to make 16 events. Well, yeah, great. The expectation, if you're Scotty, and I get it, like I say this about top players all the time, is like, if you're Scotty and you're like, yeah, I'm playing for 20, 25 million 8 times a year, why am I going to play 16 times for less? Like, I would expect if I'm Scotty, you're like, well, I guess they're all 20 million if you want me to play all these events. But yeah, a huge question mark. I don't know.
And we mentioned at the top of the pod that Roll-Up didn't answer and didn't seem really even open to the possibility that he would disclose what the $1.5 billion was going to be used for. And I do wonder if there's going to be some sort of grace period for companies to get into the tier one. Let's say, Cognizant wants to be in there and they're like, look, we can't afford, 22 million or whatever it's going to be, but we can afford to bump it up by like 20%. And then we'll see after. And they say, okay, we'll put you in this year with the expectation that you'll cover the shortfall the following year and we'll subsidize it until then. I mean, that may happen, and that's not something they're going to publicize, but I certainly wouldn't put it past the tour to offer that as an option.
Real quickly,
especially in this economy. I mean, I had to go to the grocery store yesterday with all my change. I shut down one of those Coinstar machines, like totally shut it down. $130, $129, and the thing started blinking red and told me it needed assistance because it just couldn't do any more for me. Okay, that's where we are.
So you got $116. You got what? Three boxes of cereal and 11 ramen noodles and pack of
and half a tank of gas and one balloon.
All right. Is Roulette bringing back Mondays? I heard Mondays are gone. I don't know where they fit in tier 2, but it's on. I mean, he answered it about sponsors exemptions, and he made a very good point. He's like, I want to produce golf tournaments that don't need sponsor exemptions. We want to have the best players in these events. That's it. It's a good answer. It's the right answer. I think, listen, Mark has been the benefit of sponsor exemptions. I love the underdog sponsor exemptions. Sponsor exemptions now are a mess. They're a mess. There's very few Mark Baldwins getting them because it brings social media attention or the local guy is getting, like, they're paid for, agency own them. Like, it's just the fun of sponsor exemptions are gone. So I would be totally okay with sponsor exemptions going away. Obviously, I want Mondays to stay, but that's a selfish thing.
Sponsor exemptions go away, and then this satisfies potentially another question, which is like, how does PGA Tour U fit into this?
Yeah,
you have to incentivize those top players to stick around, and maybe they end up allocating those to PGA Tour U guys. But Mondays, like, if you're going to create a meritocracy, you have to, I think, in those bottom 3 tiers or 2 tiers or whatever, you have to provide the free flow of players. If they're going to create a clear line between the first tour and the second tour, where you're not going to be able to move in between, I think you should be able to move through the system quickly if you're playing really well, and you shouldn't be held back. And I think Mondays have a place in that second tier, certainly, below that, no question.
Yeah.
But
I think I just thought about it as you were saying that, Mark. A Monday that's closed to just 2-tier players to get into a tier 1 event would be very interesting, right? Like, maybe that's the meritocracy in season that you could do. You could go fly to a Monday. There's like a tier 2 and a tier 1 event happening. You go to a tier 2 to a tier 1 event, try to Monday. If you don't, you're back in, and then there's certain point system that you have to meet in order to stay in tier 1. That could make Mondays. It's just not an open Monday, but it's open to the guys in a select. Like, you could, if Korn Ferry is a thing, you could say, like, okay, Korn Ferry members and tier 2 members can play in this Monday. You get 4 spots. Then you're not eliminating quote unquote member spots, right? They're going to members. So. I think
we've always said, and this is the advantage that Roll-Up has, I guess. An advantage from one perspective, but also if you have a connection to the history and the romanticism of Mondays and the underdog, it's pretty easy as an outsider to come and say, yeah, that doesn't suit our model, and just chop it. However, we've always said, for some players, these are life-changing opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you built your account on.
Yep.
And if you look at a Monday for a tier 1 tour event and you say, this is a career changing opportunity, why don't we really focus on the drama of it and give it its due? And every week we're going to broadcast it, right? And we're going to make that our YouTube content, and maybe that'll be our testing ground as well for some different formats. But it has potential. And I don't think it's clear that Roll-Up will just come in as an outsider and say, we're just axing this.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Mark, go take care of your kid. Everybody will be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday going forward. Mark's going to go take care of his kid. I'm going to go take care of this migraine I have and go to bed. And we're going to watch the players tomorrow. Austin Smotherman, dude was barely walking on the range, leading the golf tournament.
Amazing. How about also our friend Jared Hack from Bombay Bogey Banter in second in the event that's supposed to be a hotel planner event that was canceled. The Pro Golf Tour of India is still hosting it with the same purse that they raised. Yeah. And he's in second, shot 5 under in opening round.
Jared might own Monday Q by the end of this India trip. We might just buy it.
He might be a majority investor.
Yeah, he might be. All right, everybody. See you Monday.
See you, everybody.